Are we back? I guess we're back again. I keep losing internet for some reason. There was some kind of heavy rain earlier, like maybe like an hour or two ago, but there's not a single drop of rain now. Everything is fine outside. There's no storm or anything. I wonder if there was some sort of lingering impact or something. I don't know. Hopefully that'll be the last time it drops. If it drops again, I might have to just call it, but let's continue. The road itself is a huge red flag. It was a wonder why it didn't just turn around. The exchange from before might have pissed me off more than I thought. Still, I really didn't expect the road to just end. It happened about 15 minutes in. The view ahead suddenly turned strangely dark, and a split second later, the bike tipped forward. I reflexively hit the brakes, but it was too late. I started going down a cliff. My bike tilted downwards, and its suspension was put to the greatest test yet, as we basically tumbled down to the bottom. The headlights suddenly shone on some dirt and grass. I knew then I'd be flung out of my seat. Stifling a scream, I tried to work some steering and brake magic to slow down without collapsing. But that was too big a task for a simple road bike. At the bottom of the cliff, it jumped higher than ever before. The suspension couldn't handle the impact, and I was launched into the air. A moment later, I heard a crash and felt an impact, after which came an unpleasant pain. Damn it. An accident where I was flung out like that was a first for me. The launch was really something, too. I did a 360 in the air and fell on my back. My breathing stopped for a moment, and the pain was so bad I thought all my bones shattered. My face and limbs seemed pretty fine, at least, though I wasn't sure if that counted as a silver lining. There was grass under my hands. I felt it even through the gloves. That and the smell of green made it pretty clear what I landed on. I pushed down, and my head sunk. This grass growth was pretty hefty. It was probably the reason why I came out relatively okay. Welcome in. It's been a long time since I've seen you. How have you been? I hope you've been well. Sure, my joints creaked when I stood up, but aside from that, I was fine. It was really dark, so I couldn't really confirm it, but I was pretty sure I wasn't even bleeding. Doing decent? Well, that's something, I guess. My bike, however, wasn't nearly as lucky. Boy. It was lying on its side a short distance ahead. The engine was still on. The back wheel kept on turning, making an unpleasant fricative noise. Fricative? What? It was basically night for me, though, so I just came in to say hi and wish you fun playing. I appreciate that. I really like this game. Well, I'm looking forward to this game for sure. Definitely sounds like something I'm into. I mean, I definitely love the whole flowchart thing, because I loved Zero Escape and whatnot. But I appreciate you stopping by. Have a good night. Get some good rest. Yep, it was busted. I walked up, killed the engine, and took the key. With the headlights off, I was surrounded by absolute darkness, so I just stood and waited until my eyes adjusted. I still couldn't see very clearly, but it looked like this actually wasn't a cliff. I was still on a road, it just wasn't paved beyond this point. Obviously, a road bike stood no chance against an unpaved road. That woman actually tried to kill me. Oh, just you wait. Zigzagging through the trees, I followed the narrow footpath deeper into the forest. I'd tried getting my bike up and running again, but instantly gave up. It was partially stuck in mud, so there was the risk of it slipping and getting me into another accident. Maybe I had to turn around. That would be the best solution, yes, but it's too late. We'll probably watch vid later unless I forget, no worries. If you do end up watching it, I appreciate it. If not, no worries. The moment I considered that, I thought I saw a faint light ahead. If that woman wasn't lying, this road led to a settlement. Was I close? I reached into my jacket's pocket, took out my phone, and opened it up. As you'd expect, I was out of range. I ran the light app and shone a light to see better. Though weak, it was better than nothing. At the very least, it helped me watch where I was going. I had no idea how long I'd been walking for. But sure enough, I could see a light beyond the shrubs. It was weaker than expected. A flashlight, perhaps? I could hear water, too. I might have been near a river. Hello? I raised my voice. Hello? Anyone there? Still declaring my presence, I walked forward. It was late at night. Were I to bump into someone here, the scare would probably take away a few years of our lives. That was why I figured it was best for us both to let the other know we were here before that happened. However, there was no response. Could they not hear me over the rapids? Hello? I shone my light ahead and realized I'd made it into an opening. Sure enough, there was a river. Or a stream, rather. I could see slightly more than I had while surrounded by trees. Straining my eyes, I saw a rocky river beach and the shallows. The light I'd seen was on the other side. From what I could tell, it was either a lantern or a flashlight, and it was close to the ground. I didn't see any people, though. No one responded to my shouting, either. I wasn't excited about it, but I decided to step into the water. The cold water quickly soaked my shoes and socks. I could have taken them off, but I figured that crossing a river barefooted at midnight was a bad idea. But man, was it cold. I put my phone back into my jacket. I needed both my hands free in case I fell. Not stopping or backing down, I walked toward the light. It suddenly became deeper. The water reached my knees now. That was too close for comfort. Feeling the bottom with my toes and balancing myself, I somehow avoided losing my footing. The flow was fiercer than I'd expected. If I slipped and fell, I'd probably be washed away. It suddenly hit me I was doing something really weird, but it was too late to back down. Putting my hands on the boulders and carefully checking what I was stepping on, I gradually made it to the other side. Then, with an unpleasant, wet sound in my every step, I walked up to the light. I could already see it clearly. Yep, it was a flashlight, lying on the ground for some reason. There wasn't much space here. It was a narrow riverbank with a cliff right beside it. As you'd expect, I didn't see or sense anyone nearby. What the hell? Though old, the flashlight was working fine. The strength of the light told me the battery was pretty full. That meant that someone was actually using this tonight. Or rather, until just a few moments ago. That was the most logical conclusion. Obviously wasn't left here yesterday afternoon or evening. And yet, the user was nowhere in sight, and I was near a river. Did something bad happen? Did the flashlight's owner step into the stream and get swept away? That was the most likely and worst possible scenario. However, the flashlight was left there practically buried in the pebbles. It didn't seem like someone placed it there to light things up. It was the dead of night. There was no way you wouldn't notice dropping your flashlight when it was so dark. Right. The fact that a light source was left in a place like this was strange by itself. With that considered, what was going on here? What if someone heard my stupid shouting and decided to lure me in with a light so they could ambush me? Where would they attack from? Above?
こんばんは。
Hello? I heard a voice the moment I looked up. The rock cliff was actually made of several boulders. There was a face peeking from behind one of them.
こんばんは。
Hello?
ああ、人だ。
Wow,
びっくり
a
した。
person. You surprised me. That was my line.
悪いんだけど、
Sorry.
それ取ってもらえます
Could you pick that up for me? The voice was feminine. I finally realized what was going on.
落としたってわけですか。
So you dropped this? I picked up the flashlight and pointed it at the source of voice.
やん。
High-pitched voice, slender hands shielding the light. Sure enough, it was a young woman.
眩しいな。
It's so bright. Oh,
失礼。
sorry.
ちなみに
This is me,
こっ
by
ち
the
は
way.
こういうものですが。
怖いです。
That's creepy. Don't shine it up from below like that.
実は
I'm actually a bit
道に迷
lost.
っており。
だとすると、
I think a bit is something of an understatement then. Yeah, I thought as much.
ここって人
Is
里
this a
です。
settlement?
難しい質問だな。
That's a difficult question.
とりあえず
Can you help me out at
助けてもら
least?
えないかと。
助ける
Help?
雨露しのげて。
I just need a place to hide from the rain and wild
何
animals.
でもいいんで。
That's all.
うーん。
Standing on a boulder, the young woman made a pensive face.
じゃあ、うち来ます？
Want to come to my place? And that was a conclusion she arrived at. Her face told me she was 100% serious. Place. My place. By that, she surely meant a house. A settlement.
いいんです。
Can I?
頼んで
I
おいて
know I
なん
asked
で
for
す
help
が
and all that.
遠慮を忘れ
But
て
I'm actually
すがり
desperate
たい
enough to not hold
程度には
myself
切羽
back.
詰まってるんですが。
男として？
Huh? As a man?
ええ。い
Yes.
や違う。
I mean, no.
一個の生命
As
と
a
して
living being.
数
I
時間
spent the last few
迷った
hours
挙句
aimlessly driving
バイ
around
クに
only
こ
to
けて
fall off my bike.
心身ともに限界
I'm
を超え
dead
た
tired
わけです。
and at my wits' end here.
あらな。
Oh dear. Then what kind of living being would I be if I just abandoned you?
一個の生命として。
And so, I was saved. Oh, the beauty of living beings looking out for each other.
じゃあ手、いいです？
Anyway, your hand, please.
ん
Hmm?
ここ。
You can't climb up on your own, yeah? True. Honestly, I didn't even realize I'd have to. Meeting another person filled me with relief, which was followed by a sudden wave of fatigue. It wasn't crippling, though. She extended her left hand, so I grabbed it with my own left. Her slender fingers were stronger than expected. The girl's name was Chiemi Serizawa? Serizawa. Chiemi? I know like the E becomes like a AY thing, right? Chie? Chie? Me? Chie? I have no idea. Serizawa? I'm gonna need him to say that name at least once. I asked if she was related to the Sengumi guy, but she said that her family just adopted the name at some point in the Meiji period. She was a 21-year-old who went to a college far away from here. This was her hometown, and she was spending her post-exams vacation here. We chatted about stuff like that once she'd led me out of the rocky ravine. There was actually a proper path, so the rock climbing was pretty pointless, but I was too focused on my footing to comment. She told me about herself as soon as we reached solid ground.
ちなみにそちらは
And what about you?
名
Um,
前はFusaishi
Haru
Haruaki。東京で大
Haruaki
学院生やってます。
Fusaishi, a graduate student at Tokyo College. Can you say it again? Let me listen with both ears.
名前はFusaishi Haruaki。東京で大
Fusasi
学院生やってます。名前はFusaishi Haruaki。名前はFusaishi Haruaki。
Fusaishi
東京で大学院生や、名前はFusaishi Haruaki。東京で大学院生やってます。
Haruaki? Haruaki?
名前はFusaishi Haruaki。東京で大学院生やってます。
Haruaki. I think that's what he said. I wish I could just focus in right on the name. I will butcher their names a lot. Apologies.
あ、じゃあちょっと年上。
So you're a bit older.
24だから、
I'm 24,
芹沢
so
さんと
3 years.
3つ違いか
I'd
な。
say we're in the same age range.
でもまあ、
知恵みでいいで
Yeah,
すよ。
so don't
敬
you
語
dare
と
be
かも
formal
いら
with
ない
me.
です。
じゃあ僕も、
All
呼び
right,
捨てタメ口
then
がい
you
い
can be
な。
casual with me too.
えです
Can I
か
really?
女の子に親しくされてる
I
みた
like
い
it when
で
girls are friendly
嬉
with
しい
me.
からね。
なるほど。実は私
Well,
も堅苦
I
し
know
い
what you
の
mean.
苦手なんで。
I don't like
じゃあ
stiff
遠慮なく。
socializing either. Sure, I'll treat you like a friend.
どうぞどうぞ。
Wouldn't
ちな
have
みに
wouldn't have it
まだ
any other
結
way.
構遠い？
That aside, are we there yet?
そうでもないかな。
Not quite.
もう5分く
We're
らい
like 5
頑張り
minutes
ましょう。
away. Hang in there, Chief. What a lively girl. You could tell she was used to people.
ただ、足元に気をつけ
Also,
て。
watch your step and focus on just the light.
何かあるの？
Any reason?
この辺、石こ
There
ろ
are
だら
loads
け
of
で
pebbles
危ないんだ。
here. It's dangerous. The moment she said that, I stumbled on a rock too big to be called a pebble.
あと、今夜
And
は
it's
ずい
pretty
ぶん
dark
暗いしね。
I couldn't even see the moon anymore. Nodding in agreement, I focused on following the light in her hand.
ちょっと待っててもらえます
I gotta change.
着替えちゃうんで。
Wait here a sec. And so, I did just that. Given this was a mountain settlement, I expected some old wooden house, but she actually lived in an apartment block. It was too dark to get a good look at it. All I could see were the cheap-looking walls, like you'd expect from some old boarding house for students. Also, she lived on the second floor, in room 202. I'd heard some raindrops as we were climbing the rusty stairs, but now it was really pouring. Between that, the darkness, and the large tree right next to the building, it was nearly impossible to see what was going on outside. It felt like I was all alone in a world of nothing but the walls, the door, and the fluorescent lamp above my head. It made me feel somewhat helpless. I distracted myself from that by imagining her changing. Why? Eventually, the door opened up.
お待たせ。上がって。
Sorry about the wait. Come in. All smiles. She showed herself, now wearing sport clothes. This was kind of exciting.
なんにもないでしょ
Look at this place. It's completely empty, huh?
何にもないね。
でも冷蔵庫の中は
But get a load of what's in the fridge.
素晴らしい。
Magnificent.
飲みますか
Let's drink.
やったぜ。
Hell yeah. Oh, she got drunk. Yeah, her place really was empty. It was just a small room with a low table in the middle, a fridge near the door, and a large duffel bag deeper in. Well, she did say she was like staying at the cottage, didn't she? There were 2 old-looking bookshelves, too, but they were completely empty. I wasn't bothered one bit, though. Any girl's room was a wonderland to me. Anyway, you went through some big trouble, so I'll drink to you. And I'll drink to you for helping me out. You're a real saint. We opened up our cans, knocked them together, and downed them. Hey, it was actually good. The pleasant bitterness and the refreshing carbonation made for a good combo. So good. I live for this. Come on, you're too young to say that. Yeah, you're right. I'm not despairing for my future or love life yet. You hear that? That's the sound of job hunting. It's a-comin' here fast. No, don't say that. You'll ruin my beer. She laughed and took a huge sip. It was pretty clear she could hold her drink. That aside, something really bothered me. This might be a bit late for this, but can I ask you something? Go ahead. Her cheeks were already red. Maybe she didn't handle her liquor as well as I thought. She had a well-featured face, and I didn't think it was wrong to consider her beautiful. Sure, her clothes weren't the least bit sexy, but I could tell she had some makeup on. To you, I'm just some stranger who says he's lost, right? Yep. And you yourself are a young woman who invited that stranger into an enclosed space and started getting drunk. Oh. Don't you think this is dangerous? She kept gulping the drink even as she formulated a response. The very fact that I could just watch her do that made this a pretty risky situation, and yet I wouldn't say so. But time for a Chiemi. Oh, she said her name. Let me listen again. Chiemi? Chiemi. Serizawa. Okay, Serizawa, I understood, because I've learned from Steins Gate. Jamie Serizawa. Jamie Serizawa. I'm going to butcher it, trying to do her voice. Time for Jamie Serizawa's quiz.
Yay!
Yay. Here's the question. Oh God. My virginity is threatened, yet I don't feel like I'm in danger. Why? What a fun girl. This only made me like her more, increasing the danger even further. Am I allowed to ask questions? Sure. Can I just assume that it's not because I look like a good guy? Well, I don't think you look like a bad guy. But no, I doubt you're good either. You look experienced with women, for one. That unintentional compliment showed that she actually did see me as a potential danger. There are 2 types of answers to this. Either you expect nothing bad to happen, but wouldn't be bothered if it did, or you actually want something to happen. I can think of several situations for the former. For example, you're actually on the edge and don't care about what happens. Or maybe you're just confident you can defend yourself. Maybe you know martial arts and can easily kick my ass. Wow, so logical. Let me guess, you're a scientist. I don't know that that would take a scientist to understand, but sure. Well, I guess you could say that. Now, For the latter. If you intend for something to happen, then
例えば私がエロ
I'm
エ
a
ロですと
thirsty
か
perv or something? Wow. Talk about not mincing words. I blame the booze. So what else is there?
他には何があるでしょう
Indeed. What other reason could a woman have to bring a stranger to her home? It would surely be something non-standard, like murder?
僕の存在が君の
You want to use me somehow.
例えば
For example, setting me up as an
ここ
alibi.
にいたと
I could be
後
useful
日
to you by
僕が証言
attesting
するこ
that
と
you were
で
here.
君がい
おーちゃっか
Wow,
り利用するわ
that's
け
so
だ
shrewd.
あるいは
Or maybe you're a serial killer who brought me here just to get me drunk and
僕
kill
を酔
me.
っ払わせてぶっ殺す
はあ
Whoa,
ヤマンバ
so I'm some
いいね
evil mountain witch now.
ブッシュブッシュ殺しちゃう
Sounds great. I'll kill you real good. Sploosh sploosh. What kind of sound effect was that?
ちなみに前提
By
で
the
出
way,
た2つ
you
のケ
forgot
ース
another
の中に
case.
一つあるよ
あれ
I did?
うん
Yep,
私がとっても
I
いい
could just be a really good person
これは
who simply wants to help
助けて
you.
あげたい一心だっていうケース
Was it time for me to be ashamed of my filthy mind?
いやでも
But
それ
wait,
で自分が襲われ
is that
る
really
ことを
important enough to
考え
risk
た
being
ら
assaulted?
ああ襲うって言っちゃったよこ
Oh,
の人
so you're thinking of assaulting me?
あ
I'm just talking in general.
と
You know, the cliche scenario.
一般論ね
She stopped talking and turned red. It was so cute, I thought she was actually doing it on purpose. Man, was she drunk. And we were just on our second cans.
じゃあ
Hmm.
こういうのは
Then how about this?
止めないともっ
If
と
I don't let you stay here, something even worse would happen and I'd feel real bad. Hmm?
ごめん
Care to
もうちょ
elaborate?
っと詳しく
この辺りには怖い
There's some scary wild animals around here. You might have gotten torn up and eaten.
ズタズタに引き裂かれてしまうかもしれませんこのまま見捨てたらとても
That'd have left a bad taste in my mouth. So I figured I'd just let you stay instead.
まあ止めてあげようかしら
なるほど
I
リ
see.
スクと善意を
So you're balancing risk and
ってわ
goodwill.
けか
Didn't
これは
expect
想定
that.
外
想定外か
Really now?
この人
You got any idea how much of a bad guy you seem now? Fair.
えそう
Huh? I do?
だって善意を
I
選
mean,
択肢に
you
入れる
assumed
前
I
に
was a thirsty
殺人
perv,
鬼とかアリバイ
a
とか
serial
いろい
killer,
ろとかさ
or needed an alibi before considering I was just a nice person. Well, the fact that I considered you might be a serial killer or a bad person means that I'm probably not too bad a person, hopefully.
ヘロエロは君が言い出したんでしょ
You're
う
the
か
one who brought up the perv thing.
そうだったっけ
Details, details.
で
So what's the right answer?
え
Huh?
これって単
We're
な
not
る
just
バカ話
messing
じゃ
around?
ないの
正解者には素
Get
敵
it
なプレ
right,
ゼン
and
ト
I'm giving you a nice present.
正解者はブッ
Get
シ
it
ュブ
wrong,
ッシュ
and you're
殺します
dead. Sploosh sploosh. Seriously? I'm sorry. There's a secret answer. 20 keys, though. You'd feel guilty if you let me die. Because right now I don't really want to accuse her. Ding ding ding. You're right. Oh, cool.
まあ実
Well,
際この辺は
I wasn't joking when I said this area is dangerous.
確かにイノシシ
There's
も
deer,
野犬も
boars, wild dogs, and bears.
鹿とイノシシは
I
実際
actually
に
saw
いたけ
deer
ど
and boars myself,
熊
but
もいるの
bears?
うん月の輪だけどね
Moon bears,
あん
though.
まり多くはないけど
They aren't big,
昔
but they
襲
do
われた
attack.
人もいたし
It's pretty dangerous out there.
危ない
なんてワイルドな
That's just wild.
でも本当
But
に
there's something
やばい
even
動物は
worse. Hmm?
なんだろう
What? Worse than
熊より
bears?
やばい動物
ヘビ猿
Snakes, monkeys, crows, spiders. Huh? Were they venomous or something? I really doubted that. Those really didn't seem worse than bears. What size are they? As if they're Australian spiders. Hell no.
あと
Also wolves. Hey, that's me.
日本には狼はい
There
な
aren't
い
any
でしょ
wolves in Japan.
いるかもよ。こんなに。
Yeah, there are. You're in the sticks, you know. She smiled and drank out of the third can.
まあ、理由が
Speaking of wolves, whatever the reason, you ended up coming into a pretty girl's home.
自分が狼に
Won't you become a wolf yourself?
やめとく
Nope.
紳士
What a
もう一個あ
gentleman.
げちゃ
Have another one. I wasn't too sure, but I felt like she dodged the subject. Perhaps I wasn't being cautious enough. But then again, I'd been wandering aimlessly for a long time by now. I had enough recklessness in me to enjoy sharing a drink with a cute, if shady, girl. Next day, Monday. Sorry, I had to yawn. The last thing I remembered was our little, "When was the last time you pissed yourself while sleeping?" talk. I had to tell her about the time I got so drunk I wet my pants in the middle of the boarding house. She laughed so hard she started frothing in the mouth and passed out. I woke up with a splitting headache. Oh man. Morning already? Light poured in through the frosted window. I pulled out my phone and checked the time. 7 in the morning. I'd gone to sleep somewhere between 2 and 3, which probably wasn't quite enough sleep. At least I didn't wake up to some horror movie scene. The building wasn't in ruins and the girl wasn't actually a skeleton. Though, in a way, this might have been worse. Is she sick? She was spread out on the floor on the other side of the mini table. Her breathing was mixed with some weird gurgling sounds. Ugh. I hesitantly looked at her. The saint that saved me from the hell I was in last night had puked in the middle of her sleep. Ugh. What was I supposed to do here? As a guest, I couldn't really be too harsh on her.
ちえみちゃん
Chiemi-chan.
ピュー
She wasn't waking up. Well, I'd just do what little I could. There. That should be good enough. I'd used tons of toilet paper to clean up her mess, and flushed it down the toilet. It left a stain on the floor, but it was dirty to begin with, so whatever. I'd even wet a towel and cleaned her face. Even then, she showed no signs of waking up. Some of it was on her hair and clothes, but I figured it was best if she took care of that herself.
ちえみちゃん
Chiemi-chan.
朝
Morning? The first hint of consciousness so far today.
ちょっと出ておくから
I'll be leaving for a bit. Without waiting for a response, I walked to the entrance. She'd have to take a shower and change and all that, so I'd kill time outside. I stepped into my still damp shoes with my bare feet. My socks were in the washing machine with the towel she gave me to wipe my legs, and reached for the doorknob. I opened the door and was greeted by a gust of wind. The raindrops gathered on the leaves of the tree next to the building, flew right into my face, making me grimace. The rain from last night was already over. The sky was pretty clear, but despite that, I noticed the visibility of my surroundings was poor. The building was surrounded by leaves. The old structure was basically buried in a forest of trees about as tall as itself. There were branches poking into the exposed hallway. It almost felt like they'd reached out and grabbed me if I wasn't careful. I kind of felt like I was in an overgrown ruin. I turned around and saw the room in Chiemi just as I left them. Yep, it was all real. I closed the door. There were other rooms in this building, which made me wonder if they were occupied. Hell, I wondered the same thing about the area in general. I pushed the branches aside to see if there were other buildings nearby. Keep yawning. Suddenly, something entered my vision. It didn't feel right. Something that shouldn't have been there. The leaves I moved revealed a woman clad in curious clothing. The moment I recognized her as such, she opened her closed eyes. Did our eyes meet? Another strong wind. I shielded my face from the spray of raindrops. When I looked outside again, the woman was nowhere in sight. Was that an illusion? If not, then what? What kind of place was this? It could have been a real Hicksville, a marginal village, a bunch of actual ruins, or an illegal settlement. I had some theories, but I set them aside for now. It seemed like a place worth exploring, regardless. I went down the stairs and found no sign of the woman, or anyone else for that matter. A short distance away from the building, I turned around and sure enough, it was pretty much covered in trees. I went to the place where I saw the woman. There were footprints in the grass here. Maybe I'd find her if I followed them. They led me to an open area. It was unused, but it looked like someone was trying to do something with it. Was it supposed to be a construction site? Even if it was clearly abandoned. There were large rocks and lots of sediment near a prefab. From what I could tell, there had been a giant landslide, which forced them to stop construction. The fact that plant growth was still minimal meant that it happened fairly recently. The footprints seemed to be going down the hill next to the site. Following them, I finally saw something that could be called civilization. There was a set of paddy fields with houses nearby. So this actually was a settlement. What a relief. I decided to keep following the footprints and approach the settlement. I came across another unpaved path that was clearly used by people and cars. It was lined with weeds and bushes reaching up to my waist. It was home to caterpillars and grasshoppers, among other things. Spiders were no exception. There was no shortage of insects there, so it was a good place for a net. I wasn't particularly scared of spiders, but I didn't like them either. At least they were just harmless orb weavers. I detest spiders. I do not want them touching me. I hate them with a passion. Regardless, I avoided these bushes, just in case, and followed the path like the good city boy I was. There was a large boulder, surrounded by grass. It was strangely tall, making it look like it was put there by people. On its dewy surface, there was a gray tree frog, ready to go after the many insects scattered about. I walked a bit further and came across a house with a small field nearby. The field's location made it safe to assume it belonged to the inhabitants. If there were inhabitants anyway, I couldn't see anyone, and just like always, there were grass everywhere. There was another boulder standing next to the house. This one was obviously placed there by human hand. What was the point? Was it a monument or something? The footprints continued into the field. The wet mud on the field was full of small, young, but healthy-looking rice plants. If you ignored the standing boulders in the area, the place looked like a normal farming village. I was both relieved and worried at the same time. From what I saw, there weren't any other buildings besides the one in the settlement. Everything beyond was just mountains, meaning that this place was completely isolated. I was a complete outsider. There was no way things would go well if I ran into a random local. I belatedly crouched to hide myself a bit. It was probably best for me to go back. Chiemi might have been looking for me. Suddenly, I heard a sound. I looked for its source and found a speaker on a wooden utility pole in the middle of a small plaza. A morning broadcast? I had never heard this tune before. It was cheerful at first, but had some parts that seemed really dark. I found it unsettling. Perplexed, I stopped walking, and what happened next made me hide myself. There was a person in the area densely surrounded by houses. But they weren't normal. What was with that appearance? What was that on her face? Though I was a fair distance away, I could see an old woman with some sort of cloth over her face shakily walk out from between the buildings. Oddly enough, there were boulders even there. But even weirder was the fact that she walked up to one of them, lightly joined her hands, and bowed her head before it, her face still hidden. Then, all was silence. It actually looked like she was revering it. To me, it looked like she was praying to it. This was bad. Really bad. I'd wandered into a settlement with a unique culture, to put it lightly. Forget causing trouble. An outsider like me could get killed here. I just turned around and ran for it. I dashed up the hill, past the house, through the construction site, until I arrived back at the apartment building. Chiemi looked like a relatively reasonable person. Maybe she could tell me what was up. It just hit me that the way she described this place was somewhat weird. She basically said it wasn't normal. Or maybe you're a serial killer who brought me here just to get me drunk and kill me.
はあ、
Wow,
ヤマンバ。
so I'm
いい
some
ね。
evil mountain
ブッ
witch
シ
now.
ュブッシュ殺
It
しちゃう。
sounds great. I'll kill you real good. Sploosh sploosh. No way. What if she was actually the bait they used to lure outsiders here? Eventually, the broadcast stopped. Chiemi still hadn't come out of her room. She didn't respond even when I knocked or called out to her. I didn't have to worry about this, right? That just made my inexplicable unease grow worse. What if this was a trap? Was I in a dangerous situation? I had to talk to her. If she was a normal person, anyway. Maybe my best option was to run away right now. I wouldn't know where to run. I couldn't remember the path we'd taken here. Though I was pretty sure we went uphill, so maybe I had to go down? If I avoided the settlement and went back to the mountain stream, I could escape by following the wild roads. That was my best option, even with the difficulties considered. So do it. Thankfully, I'd taken my bag with me. I took out a 5,000 yen note and put it in Chiemi's newspaper box. It was payment for last night's beer. The moment I turned around to take my leave, the door to the room next to the staircase opened slightly with a creak. I saw an eye glaring at me through the gap. Ah! Her high-pitched scream pierced my eardrums. I screamed too, scared shitless, and ran for it. Suddenly, I stepped onto the wet hallway floor at a bad angle. Oh god. I fell. Thud, thud, thud.
はるちゃん、どうした？
Haru-chan, what's wrong?
うん。誰かの っちゃん。
Whoa, who's this old guy?
あ、
Ah,
あなた
who are you?
誰ですか
And are you alright?
っていうか、
The reasonable sounding voice prompted me to shake off the pain and raise my head. There were two boys in formal-looking school uniforms.
大丈夫ですか
Are you alright? He repeated the question. Yeah, I was just startled.
驚いただけで。
おっちゃん、ちえねえ
Are
の
you
友
friends with
達？
Chieni? Chieni?
ああ、ちえみちゃんのことか。
Oh, you mean Chiemi-chan.
大学の知り合いですか
Are you a friend of hers from college? She didn't tell us anyone was visiting.
いや、
Oh,
いろいろ
I just got into some trouble and she helped me out.
怪しいものじゃ
There's
ないんだ
nothing shady about me,
怪しく見える
though I know that's hard to believe.
怪しいな、おっちゃん。
It really is, old man. Man,
どうすればいい
how
の
do I
か
handle
な
this? Anyway,
とりあえず
my name's
名前は
Haruaki
久石春明と言います。
Fusaishi.
僕は織部安永です。こっちは
Oh, God.
鴨志田近
I
松
should come up with nicknames, I feel like. I'm Yasunaga, Oribe. This is Chika Mochi, Kamoshida. So, Chika Mochi, Yasunaga.
モッチーだ。
Thank God, thank you. Just Mochi is fine. Good to know. If I called him that, maybe he'd stop calling me old man. I was only 24.
それでこっちが春ちゃん何してんの
And this is Haro-chan. What are you doing?
だって知らない人が。
We don't know him. Apparently this Haru-chan was the person who looked at me through the gap in the door and screamed.
とりあえず大丈夫そうだから
He seems
出て
safe.
おいでよ
Come out. A moment later, she slammed the door shut, and after a few more moments of hesitation, opened it again. Hi? Whoa. She looked like a student, too, except her fashion sense was exceptionally flashy.
あなた、誰ですか？
Who are you?
夫妻氏
Name's
春明と
Haruaki
言ってこ
Fusaishi.
の近くでバイクで
I
事故っ
crashed
て
my motorbike nearby,
芹沢
and
千恵美
Chiemi
さんに助けられたんだ
Serizawa helped me out.
それっ
Wait,
て
are you saying you spent the night in her room? Yeah,
止
I
めて
did.
もらった
She cut my words short with her ear-piercing shriek.
通りで騒がしかったと思う。
So that's why it was so noisy. What were you thinking? You're not supposed to enter an unmarried girl's room. It's indecent.
ああ、
Yeah, I was hesitant too, but
僕も
Chiemi-chan
ちょっと
was
躊躇は
kind
したん
enough
だ
to
け
let
ど
me in.
ちえみちゃん
ちえみちゃん？
Why are you acting like you've known her your whole life? Wait,
そうもしかして
she's not getting out.
ちえねえが出てこない
Don't tell me
なんて
you...
ドアに5000円挟んであ
And
る
there's a
よ。
500 yen note in the door. Okay. Ear shuddering scream.
夫妻さん
Don't tell me you.
違う違う
No, no, no.
単に
She just gave me lots of booze. I'm paying back for that.
ちえねえの体が5000円ってそんな安いわけない
I
でしょ？
literally just told you booze. Chinese body is worth way more than that.
ただれてるな。
How dissolute. The hell were these kids saying?
ああ君助けてく
Hey,
れないか
can you help me out?
初対面で女性の部屋でお酒を
You
飲ん
drank
だ
with the
ん
girl
で
you
すか
just met? And she's not coming
そ
out.
して知恵は出てこない
Crap. I had no allies here.
一体何事？
What's going on? And so the subject of the conversation joined in.
おーちえみちゃん
Oh,
君からも
ちえみちゃん
事情を
Can you tell them what happened last night? Something was off about her aura. What happened to the lively girl she'd been yesterday? Uh-oh.
ちえねまさか
Chieni, did you...
恥ずかしいとこを見られちゃった。
No, stop. Man, this is embarrassing.
おお
Whoa!
いやちょっと待ってちょっと
Wait, hold on. Stop. can't be a bride anymore. Ear-piercing screech. Man, what a mess. Though Chiemi's face was all pale, she was actually grinning. She obviously had a bad hangover, but that didn't stop her from messing around. After calming everyone down, Chiemi explained what actually happened. How we met in the middle of the night. How she let me stay out of goodwill. How we drank ourselves silly and how nothing happened between us. Man, it's been so long since I drank that much. Guess I wasn't prepared for it and puked it out. Sorry you had to sue that, Haruaki-san.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't mind it. That Haru-chan girl still looked at me funny. Absurd. Absurd. Anyway, sorry. I was so tired yesterday that I couldn't refuse her kindness. Well, this is Chieni we're talking about. She does whatever she wants. She's got good reasons for being here, too. So, maybe the elders will understand. Or he's got good reasons, sorry. Where did you find him, anyway? Well... next to the river, further down. My words made everyone change their expressions. That's a bit... a big deal. 2 people over just 2 days? Did I say something bad? It was going to get out sooner or later. We made quite a scene, so I wouldn't be surprised if everyone in Yasumizu already knows. Hey, what did you mean by 2 people over just 2 days? Don't touch me! You're filthy! I wasn't trying to touch her. I wasn't filthy. Sure, I hadn't had a bath in over a day, but still. Hey you, why is it a big deal? What'd you say? Tayabe? Tayaba? Toyaba. Sounds like he's saying kind of like toy. Toya. Toyaba? Toyaba. Toyaba, I guess. And Toyaba's gonna go E. Well, that sounded bad. Can you tell me more? It's a bit complicated for now. Or it's a bit complicated. For now, just keep in mind that this is the countryside. Things are different here than in the city. This guy here was Oribe-kun. Ignore Chiemi, and he was the easiest person to talk to. What should I do? Just leave it to me, alright? It's time for students to eat, isn't it? Huh? But I want to see where this mess goes. No, you don't. Just go already. We'll catch up. Well, I guess it's best to go separately. There's probably going to be some disagreements. Yeah, I knew you'd understand, Yasu-kun. Take care of them for me, alright? Sure. Stop treating me like a child. Yeah, I swear I'll poop on you. Please don't. Let's just get going, you two. And so, the students walked off towards the stairs. It was kind of easy to tell what sort of relationship they had. Anyway. So they live in this building too. Yep, it's a student dorm, you know? A student dorm. In this Hicksville? Still, my senses had betrayed me. There actually were other people here. By the way, you didn't run into anyone else and get in trouble, right? Well...
あ、うん。一応そ
yeah.
れ警戒
I
して
was
たから
careful on that front.
ならよかった。
Good. Let's get ready to go to the
ち
dining
ょっと
hall.
したら食堂に行きましょう。
あ、
あ
朝食
For breakfast?
の朝食は今から
Nope.
食べてください。
Eat your breakfast now.
食堂へは
We'll go to the dining hall to introduce you.
え、
Huh?
誰と
To who?
よそ者が去らない
To whoever has a problem with an outsider coming from Saranaga. Oh. So like that... Toeba person, huh?
お世話になります。
I'm in your hands then.
いいってことです。
It's fine.
その代わり
If you're that grateful, keep what happened this morning a secret.
そりゃもちろん。
Sure thing.
ところで、
What's Saranaga anyway?
って何
That river?
あの河原
そう。
Yep.
サラナガの
The
セッ
river's
ト
called
に
Saranaga Rapids,
あの辺ま
but
と
the
めて
area
サラ
around
ナ
it
ガ
is
って
called
呼ぶの。
Saranaga.
ちょ
The
っと
place has some
曰くもある
cultural
場所ね。
significance.
いわく
It does?
うん。
Yep.
あの川は
They say it's a
汚
corrupt
れていて
place,
死人が
where the
帰って
dead
くる
return from the other
み
side.
たいな伝説がね。
Oh. So that's why they reacted like that.
他にもその手のルール
Any other
という
rules or
か
customs I should be aware of?
しきたりみたいなのが。
たくさんあります。
Oh, there's
なの
lots.
で基本
So just leave everything to me,
リエルちゃん
alright?
にお任せを。
Gladly. On all fronts.
ちなみに、
If
身の
I
危
may
険
ask,
とかは
am I in danger?
ないない。
Nope.
でも
But you
いろ
should
い
try
ろ
to
不愉快
escape
な
before
思いをす
something
る
unpleasant
前に
happens to you.
早く出て行けた方がいい。
そのための根回し
And
に
you're
行
gonna
く
lay the groundwork
と
for that, huh?
そうそう。
Yep. The settlement I strayed to was a weird place, but at least the guide was reliable. And she wanted me to leave ASAP, huh?
Hmm?
That was depressing. Chiemi gave me some cup ramen for breakfast. She boiled the water in a small electric kettle. The girl herself was too hungover to eat anything. I did take the opportunity to pay her back for last night's drinks in person, though. Then, we made our way to the dining hall.
この岩って何なの
What are these boulders?
一応お守り
They're
み
like
たいな
charms,
の
I guess.
昔から
They've
あ
been
る
here
よ。
forever.
よそでは見たことないよ。
I've never seen anything like them anywhere else.
ああ、言われたらそうかも。
I guess they're kind of unique to this area. She led me along a narrower path than I'd followed earlier. It didn't seem like any cars used this one. It was very farmy, I guess. This area was also littered with those boulders. Some were cracked, broken, or half buried in the fields. They were clearly religious symbols, but it didn't look like they were that important these days. Or were they? Now that I knew I was safe, I once again became curious about this place.
人だ。
Oh, there's a person. He was working on the field.
たくみ兄ちゃんだ。おはよ
That's Takumi-chan. Morning! Chiemi waved her hand. The man responded, but then froze mid-wave.
う。じゃあ行きましょう。
Let's go.
いいの
Are you sure we
多分あの
should?
人
The
僕
guy
の
looked
存在に
pretty
驚いたん
surprised to
じゃ
see
ん
me.
大丈夫。
Don't worry.
どうせ後で食堂
He'll
に
be
来
at the
るから
dining hall soon.
説明はその
We'll
時に
explain
するって
things
ことで。
Well, if she said so. As an outsider, I had no choice but to rely on her. Hang on, I got a best viewers comment. Let me ban it. This was the part of the village I saw this morning, where the buildings were more densely packed. I didn't notice it back then, but it was actually kinda weird. Basically, it felt desolate. The wooden bungalows, in particular, were more or less overgrown, buried in tall grass and other greenery. If this was all I saw of the village and someone told me it was abandoned, I'd have easily believed them. However, two of the buildings stood out. There was a hall right beyond the hill. It wasn't that big, but it looked grand and well maintained. The other building was obviously the dining hall. It looked a bit dirty, but I could tell there were people inside. From what I could tell, it was the most lively place in this poor excuse for a community. Suddenly, the 3 students walked out, chatting about something.
Ah, Chiene.
Ah, it's Janie
Fusaishi-san.
and Fusaishi-san.
再度おはよう。
Good morning again. Aren't you late?
モッチーがバカなことばっか
We
り言って
took forever
遅く
because
なっちゃ
Mochi
ったんだも
doesn't
ん。
stop saying nonsense.
そうだ。
Yes, I am evil.
味噌
Give me
汁を
miso,
よこせ。
miso soup.
まあ早足なら間に合うでしょ。
You'll make it if you
みんな
hurry.
しっかり勉強しといて。
Behave in class, you guys. Half dashing, the 3 ran up the path we came from.
みんな高校生なんだ。
They're all in high school, huh?
そう。
Yep,
山をぐー
there's a
っと登
grad
ったところ
school
に
all the way
学
up
校
the
があるん
mountain.
だ。
I was going there
私も
myself 3 years
3年前
ago.
まで通っ
やたら不便だね。
Sounds like a hassle.
それでもみんな
It's not all
寮に
bad.
住める分
At least we get to
優
live
遇
in
され
that
てるんだ
in
け
that
ど
dorm. Jamie was entirely straight face. There wasn't even a hint of a smile.
さあ気合を入れて入りましょう。
Alright, let's get psyched.
そうしましょう。
Yeah,
気合入んな。
I'm not convinced. We laughed a little and passed the curtain.
いらっしゃい。
Welcome. Oh. The inside was as aged as the outside, but it looked well maintained.
ちえみちゃん、
Is he a visitor, Chiemi-chan? The hostess-looking lady asked. Though somewhat aged and fatigued, she was definitely beautiful. There were 2 others beside her. One was a lady in her 70s or 80s. She was probably the one I saw this morning. The silhouette matched, as does the clothes. The other was a man who seemed a bit younger than her, probably in his late 60s. Though they were just sitting there, there was a menacing aura about them. He's ripped.
うん紹介する
I'll
ね。
introduce him.
フサイシハルアキさん。
This is
昨日の晩
Haruaki
サラナガで迷ってたの。
Fusaishi.
ちえみが
I
保護
found
し
him
ま
at
した。
Saranaga last night and took him into my care. Did you say not to mention that? Their reactions were powerful. The lady gasped while the 2 elders rose to their feet with alarm. The tension that was already there the moment I walked in reached its peak.
気にするのもわかるけど、
I know you're
これは
concerned,
単なる偶
but
然で
this is
す。
just a coincidence.
あの子と違って
Unlike that little
この
girl,
人は
he
素
knows
性が
exactly where he
明
came
らかだし
from.
バイクで
He went on an old path with his bike and
非
crashed.
常に気の毒な
It's actually really sad. Maybe I died.
そんなわけで
That's why I think we should help him leave.
この人がちゃんと帰るどうですか？
What do you think? After saying all that, Chiemi fell silent. The ball was in their court now.
まあ、それは大変。
Now that is troubling. The lady voiced a harmless opinion, careful not to upset the old people. It was pretty clear who was in charge. They were elders in more ways than one.
ちいちゃんはなんで夜に
ちいちゃん、Chie-chan, why did you even go to Saranaga that night?
虫の知らせ
I had a hunch, I guess. You know what happened. I couldn't fall asleep.
眠れなかったから。
それじゃあやっぱり読み人
Then he's gotta be a Yomi Bito.
やめ、タエバ。
So she's Toeba. Toeba. Shut it, Toeba. From the conversation, it was pretty clear that something had happened before I arrived here. It was probably similar to what happened with me. She mentioned some little girl. Perhaps it was a child who wandered in here like I did. According to Chiemi, the Saranaga Rapids were a place of significance around here. It was a place from which dead people came to life or whatever. Oh. So this is Toea. So this Toea must have been the E lady that boy mentioned. And the Yamabito must have been a term for the dead who came from there. Apparently, the primary goal here was convincing these elders to approve helping me.
おい、どっから来た？
Where are you from? The old man's voice put my derailed mind back on track.
あ、はい。
Ah, I'm
Tokyo desu.
from Tokyo.
いくつじゃ？
How old are ya?
年は
24.
24です。
地位より上じゃが。
Older than Chi, eh? He chuckled. I immediately realized he was taking a jab at me for hiding behind a younger girl. 申
Um, し遅れました。
nice to meet
久石
you.
春明です。
I'm
芹沢さんにも
Haruka
紹介された通り、
Fusaishi.
事故って迷い
I
込み
struggle
ま
with
し
his
た
name for sure. Like she said, I wandered into town after my bike crashed.
どうやら僕はここでは異分子の
I
よう
seem to
で
be a total outsider here,
変なこと
so
を
I
言
didn't
った
want to
りし
speak
た
out
り
of
して
turn.
皆さんそれで芹沢さんに紹介をお願いしたんですが
That's why I asked her to
僕から
talk on my
改
behalf.
めてお願いします
But I think I should say something, at least.
すぐ出て行きますか
I
ら
won't trouble you any longer than I have to.
僕の
So I would be
存在を
grateful
多
if
め
you
に見て
pardoned
い
my
ただけ
brief
ないか
stay.
とそれと
And please,
僕を
don't
助
blame
け
her
てく
for
れた
helping me.
芹沢さんを
春明さん
Hey, Haruaki-san.
おそらく芹沢さんは
I think she went against this village's customs by helping
僕
me
を
out.
助けてくれたんだと
The
思うんで
students
す
also seemed
学
surprised.
生たちもみんな驚いてた
まあ
My,
これでも大人です
I'm an adult.
自分
I'm
の
willing
責
to
任
take
は
responsibility
自
for
分で
any
取り
trouble
ま
I
すし
caused.
皆さん
as
に
best
かけ
I
た
can.
迷惑は可能なですので
So,
どうか
please,
お
put
願
up
い
with
しま
me.
す
I bowed my head.
ちゃんとしとるタイバ
He seems alright to me. Toeba.
あたしゃ好かんわね
I don't know about
そんな
that.
に髪茶色に
Look at his
する
hair.
から
All colored brown. Shit. I forgot I didn't look very presentable to more traditionalist people. Good thing you're not a blonde.
よそは皆こうよ
Outsiders are all like that. Just help him get out of here, he says.
ほいじゃ好きにしなさいね
What? Why did Siri turn on my phone? No. Go back. I need to be able to hear myself. Please give me back my audio. Wait, my phone's just... The app... I think I need to restart the app. Is it working? There we go. Now I hear myself. Do what you want. I guess I got their half-hearted approval.
春秋春か
Haruaki.
もあるじゃん
Haru, eh?
だし
Like my granddaughter. What a mess.
あ
Oh,
もしかして
So that means you're...
そう
Yep,
春ちゃんのおじい
He's
さん
Haru-chan's
牧
grandpa,
島勘三さんよ
Kanzo Makishima.
どう
A
も
pleasure. I didn't know what else to say. Haru-chan and I weren't on the best of terms so far. Anyway, it seemed like we were past the difficult part.
皿長に突っ込んだか
Drove into Saranaga, eh?
いえ
No,
コンビニで
actually.
道を聞いた後
I asked for directions at a
脇道
convenience
に
store,
入って
went down a
海
side
沿いに
road,
なったとこ
and
ろで
ended up losing
滑り落ち
control in an unpaved
横転し
section.
ました
で皿長登ったら
And then you went in
なぜ突然
Saranaga.
返さね
Why didn't you turn around? He wasn't impressed by my choice of actions. It just hit me that I had no idea how much time passed between the crash and my meeting with Chiemi.
えわしと匠で見てきちゃる
Takumi and I'll go see it.
匠は田を見よるわよ
Takumi's working in the field.
タイバ追い出す
It's to get him to leave. Let the boy help.
カンちゃんはいっつもそう
You never
ね
change, Ka-chan.
ばあちゃん、おやさん、どうした？
What's going on here? We're joined by a new inhabitant.
ちえみ、こいつは？
Chiemi. Who's that guy?
あ匠姉ちゃん
Oh, Takumi Ni-chan. Oh, so he was the one we saw in the field. Wow. He sure looked big from up close. All that field work was good for his muscles, clearly. And from what I could tell, he was in his 30s. As Chiemi introduced me and told him of my situation, I found out his name, Takumi Muro.
ああ、そいつは災難だったな。
Man, that must have been
あ
hard.
あおやさん、
So old man Kanzo,
わしとお前で拾う
and we'll pick it up.
だな。
Thought so.
ばあちゃん、
Toeba-chan. Wait a bit, while I help this guy. I already spread the stuff on the fields, so I'll mow the grass at noon.
たくみは優しいね。
Oh, what a good boy.
そんなもんなんでも
It ain't a big deal. I'll be so quick, you'll think nothing happened.
そうね。
Oh, good to hear. Nothing, eh?
お兄ちゃんや。
Boy.
え、
Huh?
僕ですか？
Me?
はい。
What is it?
ここは休み。
You're in Yasumizu.
あんま
It ain't a good
り
place.
ないんよ。
It was the place that wasn't good? Not my presence here?
あたしらもよそのもんが苦手だ。
We don't like outsiders
よ
here.
そのもんも
An outsider should let sleeping dogs lie.
じゃから。
So you should hurry and leave.
はい。
That's the plan.
そのつもりです。
話はついた感じか
So it's settled.
ありがとう、
Yep.
たくみ兄ちゃん。
Thanks, Takumi-ni-chan. I was beginning to understand how things worked here. Although Kanzo Makishima's voice was the most powerful here, it was also important to get Toyo-san's approval. Kanzo-san was probably in charge of tackling the settlement's practical problems, while Toei-san provided spiritual and moral direction. And when it was time to be civilized, Takume-san came and convinced Toei-san, acting as an intermediary. It looked like Takumi-san himself understood such subtleties, and Chiemi seemed to rely on this side of him.
はいここらで
Here you
ど
go.
うぞ
The lady brought some tea to the old folk. Perfect timing.
おお香織さん俺には飯
Can I leave out the honorifics? Kind of tempted to. Oh, Kaori-san. Looking forward to getting some food. So that was her name.
えへ
Sure, I'll make a lot.
朝早くからお
It'll be a reward for waking up early and working hard.
大盛りにします
Hey, I'm doing it for Yasumizu. Ba-chan. And you. It's nothing, really.
まあ
Oh my. These two sure seem to get along. They looked about the same age, too.
さあお客
Would you
様
like something to
は
eat
ご飯に
too?
されます
あ、
No.
いただいてきたの
Thank you.
で。
I already ate.
それじゃあお茶を
Then here's some tea. I can also get you a light snack, if you'd like. What would you say to some origiri?
ああ、それは。
Onigiri. Sorry. Oh, that would be...
ごめんなさい。
sorry.
ちょっと急ぎで電話
Can we borrow the
できない
phone?
かな香織さん
We need it quick. Oh?
それはいいけど
Sure,
お
but
茶
why
くら
not
い
have some
は
tea first?
うん、ありがとう。
Thanks, but it's urgent.
行こう
Let's go,
ハルさん
Haruaki-san.
うん。
Sure. It didn't look like I could say no. We went up the nearby stairs to what seemed like a living space. At the end of the creaky hallway, there was a black rotary phone, a rarity in this day and age.
これがここ、安水唯一の電話だ
And
から。
this is the only phone in all of Yasumizu, by the way. Seriously?
ちなみに、携帯電
Oh,
話はど
and
の
not a
キャリア
single
も通じ
mobile
ませんの
service
で
provider works in this area.
そうなのか。
Really?
でもどこに
Wait.
電話しろって？
Who do you want me to call anyway?
ロードサービスとか、
A road
保険とか
service,
あと
insurance,
必要なら
stuff
家
like
族にも
that.
連絡。
and family if you have to. Oh, that made sense. Hell, I should have been the one to say that.
さっきも言ったけど、
Like I
でき
said,
るだけここを
it'd
早
be
く出られ
best
た
if you
方
left
が
as soon
い
as
いから
possible.
使える
So
もの
you
は
should
何
use
でも
everything you
使えるでし
have.
ょ？
よそ者が歓迎されない場所だから。
Because outsiders aren't welcome here.
そういうことです。
Yep.
それ以上の詮索は無用と。
Sorry. And I shouldn't pry any further, huh?
ね。
Haruaki-san,
とっても
I
察
see you
しが
caught
いい
on quickly.
それは
That's
い
good.
いことだと。ただ、好奇心もとっても
But you
強
also
く
seem
見え
really
る。
curious.
バレたか。
It shows, huh?
バレますとも。
Of course it does.
でも正直、
Honestly,
あん
though,
まり
you
上
should
を
avoid
首突っ
sticking your
込まない
nose
方
into
がいいか
things.
も。
I should let sleeping dogs lie, right?
どうせすぐに別れるんだ
Because we'll
し。
part ways soon anyway.
その通り。
Exactly.
なんだか寂しいな。
That's kinda sad.
お、
Oh?
ちえみちゃんのメアド
You
募
want my
集を
contact info?
くれるならぜひ。
If you're willing to give.
やったー。
Yay!
男友達
That makes you
53
guy
名
number 53 on the list. She's teasing me.
テンションガタ落ちですわ。
Damn, if that ain't a letdown. We still went on to exchange our info. I can only hope that being number 53 wasn't as big a problem as it sounded.
それはともかく、
Anyway,
個人的
I'd
興
still
味
like
で
to
言
know
え
the
ば、
reason why me
何が
being here is
問題になって
such a big
て
deal.
どんな背景、
おすすめしないな。
I don't recommend it.
なぜかな。
But why?
私が不愉快になるから。
Because it'd make me upset.
あんまり故郷
You
が
don't
好き
like
じゃ
it
ない。
here?
うん。
Yeah,
正直。
I actually hate it.
ここの人とは仲良
You
さそうに見え
seem
る
to
け
get
ど。
along with the people, though.
ああ、それは見えるだけ
That's
です
just how it
ね。
looks. I was a
私
huge
相
problem
当に問題
child,
児だったんで。
so I feel
ご
kind
年
of
配
awkward
方
around the
と
older
結構
folk
気ま
here.
ずいよ。それに、パッと見はわからないいろんなしがらみもあるし。まあ、
And there's tons
数
of
人
things
自
you
体は
can't
そ
see
んな
right
に
away.
嫌いじゃないけど
Oh,
ね。
but I can't say I actually hate the people. With that, I decided to stop prying into this place any further. I backed away before she came to hate me.
あ、でも、一つだけ聞いていい？
Can I ask one thing, though?
いい度胸。
Oh,
何
gutsy.
かな？
Go ahead.
室匠さんのこと、
Do you like that
好きだったり
Takumi
する？
Muro guy?
え？私が？
What? Me? Like him?
うん。
Yeah.
さすがにそれは
No
ない
way.
な。
Takumi
匠兄ちゃん
Nichan's
かっ
cool
こ
and
いい
all,
けど、ごつすぎ
but
る
he's
し
too rugged
以
and
上
over a
知識
decade
だ
older
し
than me.
対象
He's out of my
です
strike zone,
それに、匠
and
兄
he's
ちゃんは
always
昔
and
か
he's
ら
always
香織
only
さん
had
一
eyes
筋
for
だし。
Kaori-san.
やっぱそうなんだ。結婚してるわけ
It
じゃ
sure
ない
felt
の？
like it. They married or something?
うん。
Nope.
香織さん、未婚人だから。
Kaori-san's a widow. Wow, that seemed complicated. That aside, Chiemi had been acting a bit strange. Why had she dragged me away from the tea? It seemed so awkward, too. Assuming she hadn't been jealous of Kaori-san and simply didn't want her to charm me, it would mean that she just hadn't wanted me to drink the tea. Why? Also, why'd she feed me cup ramen if I could have just gotten food at the dining hall? Looking too deep into things was part of my nature, though things were never as bad as I assumed. They might be this time. I went on to call my insurance company, where I found out something. Apparently, this village was hundreds of kilometers away from the nearest service station, meaning I was ineligible for the normal service and had to pay extra. What kind of bull? And the extra was no small amount, too. It actually went over 100,000 yen. Also, I could have avoided this if I'd taken a more expensive plan. This was all my own fault for not taking the bike salesman's advice. Shit. I said I would consider it and hung up. Then I went back to the dining hall.
あれ、おじいさんたちは、
Where'd everyone go? The customers had changed completely. Toya-san, Kanzo-san, and Takumi-san were gone now. They were replaced by a caricature of a juvenile delinquent.
誰だよてめえ。
What? The fuck are you? He shouted at me. He seemed like he was trying too hard. He then slammed his bowl and chopsticks on the table and stood up to intimidate me.
フサイシ 春明です。
I'm Haruaki Fusaishi.
は
The hell?
あめてんの
You wanna go?
まあ義継初対面の方になんて口の利き方を。
Yoshi Sugu? Yoshi Sugu?
まあ義継初対面の方。まあ義継まあ義継初対面の方。まあ義継初対面の方になんてまあ義継
I'm not gonna be able to pronounce it that way.
まあ義継 まあ吉次初対面の方になんて口の利き方を
Yoshisugu. Yoshisugu. Close enough, I guess. Sorry. Goodness, Yoshisugu. You don't talk like that to someone you just met. Shut up, hag. Chinese. The hell's this asshole?
バイクで事故った旅行者の春明さん。
Haruaki-san, a traveler who just crashed his bike. Boy, was that introduction half-assed?
改めて
Let me introduce them to you.
香織さんと
This is Karoi Oribe, and her second son,
長男ね。
Yoshisugu-kun. Yasunaga's-kun's the first.
え、
Huh?
安永君って
Yasunaga-kun?
彼
The guy you introduced me to this morning?
そう
Yep,
よく見たら
they
似
may
てる
not
で
look
しょ
it at first, but they're alike, don't you think? No. The Oribes. What an unpredictable family.
兄貴のこと言ってんじゃねえよ
Yeah, stop talking about bro, you ugly bitch!
そう言われてもなモテちゃうからなちえ姉ちゃんは
Call me that all you want. I'm confident in my popularity. And from what I'd seen, that confidence was well justified. Fuck off back to the city, you idiot! Stupid dumbass!
どうしよう春明さんバカは否
Oh,
定
no.
できないかも
Haruaki-san. I don't think I can argue with that.
なんと
What?
ちえみちゃんはバカだったのか
You were an idiot?
よーし
Alrighty then.
バカバカ
Stupid! You're stupid!
えひどい
Oh, how mean.
言ってやろうぜ吉次君
Join me,
バカバカ
Yoshisugu-kun. Stupid, stupid. Huh?
なんだよてめえ
What the hell?
死ねバカにして
Don't talk shit about Chieni! You're pretty conflicted, aren't you?
ごめんちえみちゃん
Sorry, Chiemi-chan.
本心じゃないん
I
だ
was just playing.
おお見事
Wow.
な連続手の
One
ひら
nice
返し
reversal after another.
このちえみ
It
を
takes quite a man to
当て
surprise
られ
me.
るとはなかなかやるな
ちえみちゃんには負け
I just don't want to lose to you, that's all.
付き合ってんのかてめえ
You dating or something? Boy, did I wish.
いい加減になさい吉次当に遅刻です
Stop it, Yoshisugu.
着替えて学校
You're already late. Change and go to school.
行かねえよ
Shut up. I ain't going. Mumbling something, the kid walked out of the dining hall, leaving his half-full bowl behind.
ごめんなさいね
I'm sorry about that.
お恥ずかしい
How embarrassing.
根は素直ないい子なんです
He's
けど
really a good
ね
boy deep down, though. Yeah, I could actually see that. Somewhat.
あところで
By the way,
牧島さん
where are
と皆さんは
Makishima-san and Muro-san?
もう
They went to pick up your bike.
昼に出ましたよ
まずい
Oh
追
no,
いかけないと
I gotta hurry after them.
場所は分かってるみたいだったし
They know where it
大丈夫
is.
じゃない
They'll be fine, don't you think?
いや
Well, you just have to set it on neutral and push. But I'm not sure they'll know how to do it. And I, of all people, should help. They might go about it the wrong way.
その程度なら
If that's all, then you shouldn't bother.
なんで
Why?
取りも直さず春明さんがよそ者だからです長時間一緒に歩くのはちょっとおすす
Really?
めできない
Because you're an outsider. I wouldn't suggest spending too much time with them.
問題になりそうな人たちには
They
思え
didn't
な
seem
か
that
った
bad
け
to me.
そりゃ二人とも大人だ
And
か
that's
ら
because they're adults.
でも
Don't
基
assume
本的
everyone
に
here is
この
as
チーム
welcoming
ほ
as
どオ
me.
ープンな人はここ
I'm
に
an
はそう
exception.
いないからね春明さんは平気かもだけど
You might get along
一緒
fine,
にいると
but you
向
might
こうも
also
スト
set
レス
them
溜
off.
めるかもしれない
This place is
ただ
already
でさ
far
え
from
今
normal.
普通じゃないから
Don't risk making it worse.
まあそうね
She's right, I say.
任せろと言わ
They
れたら
insisted you leave it to them, so
手
that's
出
what you
し
should
をしな
do.
い方がいいでしょうね
そうなんですか
You think so too?
ええ
Yes.
休みずには
The men here are
休み
pretty
ずの
serious
や
about
り方がある
Yasumizu having its own way
男の人
of
たち
doing
は
things.
それにこだわるから
I could somewhat understand that. A visitor should behave like one. Doing anything more would be uncalled for. It was an old-fashioned way of thinking, but this was an old-fashioned kind of place for sure.
じゃあ
Where do
どこ
we
で待
wait
とう
then?
か
うちに戻って待ちましょう
At my place. Is that okay? I expected as much, but it still made me curious. Normally, you'd expect we sit around and drink some tea right here. So why didn't we? As we waited, Jamie, casually but uncomfortably, told me several things. First, I found out that the people here in Yasumizu were a bit on edge right now. The reason for that was the fact that, excluding me, they had 3 whole outsiders here. I'd assumed this myself from what I knew so far, but apparently, yesterday morning, a little girl was found straying around the Saranaga Rapids. They couldn't even find out her name, let alone who her parents were, so they didn't know how to handle her. For now, one of the inhabitants was looking after her. Like I'd been told, the more superstitious inhabitants, Toei-san mostly, saw her as a bad omen. I suggested leaving her to the police, but Jamie didn't seem to think it was a good idea. It barely made sense to me, but if I were to believe her, things around here were such that not even the cops could do anything. And apparently, the remaining 2 outsiders were a pair of journalists, gathering info for a magazine article. Unlike the little girl and I, they'd come here via the normal route, to Kamifujiyoshi, and therefore weren't considered a bad omen or whatever. Kamifujiyoshi. Still, even normal outsiders put the people here on edge. Though, through this talk, I also got some details about the area itself. Yasumizu was a settlement, part of an autonomous region called Fujiyoshi Village, or simply Fujiyoshi. It also been on the map I'd seen shown at the store. Fujiyoshi was split into 2 areas, Yasumizu and Kamifujiyoshi. They were separated by a mountain. Going to Kamifujiyoshi took about an hour by foot, or 20 minutes by car on the winding but paved road. Side note, the school the students went to was in Kamifujiyoshi. These 2 settlements had ties so strong they shared customs and culture. Chiemi said the local seasonal events were quite unconventional. I asked her to elaborate, but all she would say was that Yasumizu had special meaning to Fujiyoshi. She was making me more suspicious than I wanted to be. This conversation wasn't nearly as exciting as the one we had last night. Well, at least I found out she didn't have a boyfriend right now. Very intriguing. It was nearly noon when Takumi-san came back, ending my waiting game. Side note, the door was fully open the entire time we waited. It was probably Chiemi's way of saying that nothing bad was happening here. Man, bikes sure are heavy, eh? Ain't as heavy as the boar I caught last year. I really didn't expect them to just carry it here. I did. I was gonna say. Like, sure, there were 2 of them, but just how much mass did you have to haul a 200-kilogram piece of metal so easily? The unpaved road and the river made my sweet ride really damn muddy. How did you bring it up the cliff? There's a pulley. Or no, there's a pulley. We bring stuff up from the bottom every now and then. And Takumi. Oh, yeah. Now's not the time for that. Hey, you think this thing's alright? It looks pretty damn wet. I'm not sure. I'll check. I'll leave the rest to you. Old man, this took longer than I thought it would. It's fine if I do the sharpening tomorrow? I saw them off with a loud thank you. Now then.
手伝おうか?
Need help? I'll see what I can do by myself first. The worst part of the repairs was right at the beginning. I wanted to start by washing it, but that old lady, Yamawaki was her full name, got really mad at me. She didn't want any Saranaga mud on the ground here because it was corrupt or something. But this plaza was the only place with easy access to a water supply tap, so I did my best and convinced her to let me wash it as close to the edge as possible. Once it was clean, I could start checking what was wrong with it. It actually looked pretty good. Bent in places, sure, but the wash got rid of the bad sound the wheels made. The only problem was that both tires were flat. And it was a pretty big one.
道具とか持ってきてないの？
You didn't bring tools? No.
普通バイ
Aren't
ク
you
旅
supposed
行
to
とかって
aren't you supposed to whenever you go on a bike trip?
いざとなればロード
I
サービ
just
ス
thought I
呼
could
べ
call
ばい
road
いか
service
な
and they'd do all the work.
的なノリだったんで。
不準備。
So unprepared.
いや
I have no
言
excuse.
葉もない
Honestly, I was having a moment when I went out.
出発したか
Didn't think things through.
冷静でもなかったのかも。
お？事情を聞いてほしそう。
Oh? Can I ask what happened?
彼女に振られたんだよ。
My girlfriend left me.
なんか嘘っぽいな。
That seems like a lie. It wasn't.
それはともかく。
Hello, Alioth. Welcome in.
うーん
How are you today?
タンク修理道具か。
In any case, somewhere to get tools to fix a flat tire.
野里屋敷な
There
ら
might be some in
ある
the
かもしれないな。
Nosato Mansion.
野里屋敷
Nosato Mansion?
うん。
Yep,
安水で
It's the
一番
biggest
大
place
きな
in
お家
Yasumizu.
野里
If you
屋
can't
敷
find
ない
something
な
there,
ら
you won't find it
安水で
anywhere else in
ない
the
よ
village.
なるほど。
I see.
じゃあそこの
Then
人に
let's give it a
お願いしに
shot.
行こ
うーん。
Hmm.
実はあんまり会
I
うの
don't
は
really
おすすめ
recommend
できない
meeting
ん
the
だ
guy,
けど
but I can't think of any
背
other
に腹は変えられ
ideas.
ないか。
う。また偉い人が登場
Someone important again?
うん。
Yep,
その上ちょっと
and he's kinda messed up
人
to
格的に
boot.
ね。
And so, we walked up the hill and arrived at the so-called Nosato Mansion. From what I could tell, it was located at the highest point of the settlement. And, like Chiemi said, it was definitely a hell of a building. It had an elegant Western design, which would probably look even better if the place were better maintained. The yard was overgrown, and the building itself was pretty much buried in ivy and small trees. If someone told me it was cursed, I'd instantly believe them. Did people actually live here? Hello, Corin. Thanks for your contribution.
インターホン生きてるかな。
I wonder if the intercom works. Oh, hydrate? I literally did just hydrate secretly, but okay, I'll hydrate again. Thank you, Corin. She pressed a button next to the age iron gate. Yasumizu was a quiet place, so I could easily hear the bell ringing inside.
もう一度押そうか
Should we try again? You gotta double hydrate to make sure your voice doesn't die? True.
やめとこ。
Let's
何度も
not.
鳴らすと心象
We'll
悪い
piss
か
him
ら
off.
そんなに気難しい
A
人
moody
な
guy,
の
huh?
そうね。
Moody.
気難しい。
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
いい表現だ。
I wasn't sure what she meant, but I opted to just wait rather than ask more questions. Soon enough, the person in question walked out of the mansion.
なんだ誰だ
What is it? Who are you? He wasn't young, but he didn't look middle-aged either. He certainly looked high-strung, that much was sure.
どうも、野里さん。
Hello, Nosato-san. It's Seirisawa.
知っている
I know you.
芹沢千恵
Jamie Seirizawa.
うちの青年は
I'm asking the young man with you.
春明さん、こちら野里清之介さん。
Haruaki-san.
清之介さん。
This is
こちら
Kiyonosuke.
春明さんです。
Suke. Nosatu-san. Kiyonosuke. This is Haruaki Fusaishi. I'm struggling with these names. He got into an accident. That introduction was the briefest one yet.
は
Huh?
だって
What? I explained the situation again. He furrowed his brow when I mentioned the Saranaga. In addition to the reason we were here.
というわけで
So,
早々にここ
I need
から出て
repair
いく
tools so I
た
can
め
get
に
out of here as soon as possible.
修理道具を
タイヤは
Are the tires tubeless? Huh? I have patches, but I think fixing tubeless tires would be a bit too much for an amateur. Though there's no problem if you aren't. Oh, but if the tube bursts, you have no choice but to change it. I don't have any spares here, obviously. And I wouldn't give them if I did.
すみません。ちょっとそのあたりあんまり詳しくないまま乗っちゃったんで。
Sorry, Eddie on. Sorry, but I'm not too knowledgeable about that. What a waste of time. I'd recommend spending however many thousands you need to have repairmen come and pick you up. Yeah, I had no retort to that. Oh, but Nosato-san, I don't think we can have any more outsiders come here right now. Huh? Haven't you been to a proper city? Don't tell me you still believe that nonsense. I'd be fine with it, but I doubt the elders would be. We've had too many visitors these past few days. I don't care what... Keep yawning. I don't care what you Yasumizu peasants think. What do you expect me to do anyway? Fix the tires myself and get oil all over me? Oh, I'd never suggest that. I just think that a Fujiyoshi's village head should help a troubled visitor. How about instead of relying on me only when it's convenient, you just give them a traditional Yasumizu welcome. You know, throw them off the cliff. Whoa, what the hell? Come on, you can't say that. Jamie's tone was slightly off. I could feel a bit of irritation behind her words. I know it might be a bother, but can you at least lend me the tools? What? I'll just borrow them. You won't hear or see me work. I can even pay. Well, I don't mind that much. But I'll want compensation for anything you break. A student or not, I'll have you act proper. Then he pointed me to the garage and walked back to the mansion. Man, thought we were screwed there. What the hell's a burst tube? Wow, that's so lame. What? You think every biker can fix a bike by just bashing it with a wrench or something? I don't know. But aren't there a lot of girls who are into guys good with cars and stuff? Oh, so you're into Nosato-san. Nope. He's just acting like he's smart. He's probably never repaired a thing in his life. The guy's not nearly as experienced as he'd have you think. Huh? Then why does he have a bike repair stuff? The Nosato mansion is basically the Yasumizu branch of the Nosato family. Their main mansion is in Fujiyoshi. Whatever they don't need there, they send over here. I heard Suke-san was given a car 5 or 6 years ago, but he couldn't drive it at all, so it's been gathering dust ever since. Damn, that was the countryside for you. Couldn't hide your shame if your life depended on it. Anyway, I now knew that the man was the condescending, pretentious type. He still helped me out, though, and it was true I didn't know much about bike repairs, so I couldn't really get mad. Anyway, let's just take everything that looks like it could be useful. Like bandits, huh? I'm in. Sure I'm not bothering you? I'd feel down without anyone to talk to. Just keep chatting with me. It helps. The instructions that came with the repair kit told me that my bike's tires were a rather difficult type to repair. Apparently, I had to remove the tires, but where did I even start with that? Well, as long as I didn't break it, nothing I did could be worse than having to call road service down here. So I just tried taking it apart. But as I removed whatever nuts I could, it made the situation even worse than it was. Whoops. Yeah, this really wasn't a job for an amateur.
お兄さん大変そうね。
You seem to be having a rough
よか
time.
ったら食べて
You
ね。
can eat this too, Chiemi-chan.
わありがとうございます
Wow, thank you.
なんか大物に
Well,
なってんな。
this looks serious.
機械って
Man,
のは
machines are just no good.
まあ怖い話になった
Hey, the benefits of culture are great as long as they don't break.
日暮れまでに
I think he can fix it for for sundown.
うん
Hmm,
厳しいかも
that might be hard.
最悪
Don't worry, though.
するから安心
Worst comes to worst, I'll do something. I really appreciated how she handled the visitors in my stead.
なあ、知恵ね。
Hey,
バイクって、
Cheney,
免許簡単に取れ
is
る
it hard to get a bike license?
どうだろう
Hmm,
現地
I don't
は
know.
簡単よ
I know that scooter licenses are easy. I have one myself.
中型大型の二輪は結構
Mid-sized bike licenses are pretty hard to get.
のと同じ学科
You even need to take a
講習もある
course, just like with cars.
しバイ
You
ク
like
好きなの
bikes?
かい
Does he not look like a delinquent to you?
関係ねえだろ
The hell?
ちなみに
What's it matter to you?
いくらすんだよ
How much was that anyway?
これは新車で
800,000
80
yen.
万くらいかな
Brand new.
たっけは
Holy shit! What the hell?
どうやって
That's way too high. You an idiot or something? How'd you get that much?
まあ、バイト
Um,
とか頑張ったから
part-time jobs and all that.
そんな新車が事故ってなんて
And you got into an accident.
気の毒
Poor Haruaki-san.
ちえみ先生
Chiemi-sensei, if I may ask, what happened to my share of the food?
先生思わず全部食べちゃった
Oh no, I ate it all.
気の毒
Poor Haruaki-san. I didn't want sympathy from the one responsible. As I told her off for not leaving me any food, I somehow removed the tires. I could only hope I'd be able to fix this up. I had this thing for less than a month, but the trouble was putting me through the trouble it was putting me through made it feel somewhat dear to me. I wanted to fire it up again and make it go as fast as I could. Suddenly, I heard an engine. It felt like it was mocking me. Hold on. An engine? Here? I stopped working and turned around to see an unfamiliar van drive into the plaza. Barring the classic-looking piece of junk in Nosato's garage, this was the first time I'd seen a car here. As far as I knew, no one living here actually owned a running car, so...
さっき言った記者さんたちだね
These are the journalists I told you about. I knew it. Once the van stopped, a lady stepped out of it.
こんにちは
Hello! Oh, she's pretty.
どうも
Hello.
今日もご迷惑をおかけし
I'll be bothering you again today. Hmm? You're a new face.
どう
Um,
も
hello.
春明です
My name's Haruaki. Bike crash.
そこまで自虐的になん
Don't be so hard on yourself. Crap. There was no time for an inside joke. I quickly introduced myself properly.
ちょっとその辺で
I crashed not too far away, so I'm stuck here for the time being.
なるほど学生さん
I see. So you're a student. Sorry about the trouble you're going through. Oh, and this is me.
私はこういうものです
The woman gave me her business card. Hisako Mamiya. Hisako Mamiya. I am not saying that right, but oh well. A freelance writer. Her pen name was Hiyuko Hoyusei? Hoyusei? I have no idea. Hoyusei?
ちなみに
I'm gonna need her names.
宝章9個の記事
Hosu. Wait, what'd you say?
ちなみに読んだことない宝章9個の記事
Hosu? Is she saying Hosu?
ちなみに読んだことない宝章9個の記事
Hosu.
ちなみに読んだことない宝章9個の記事
Yuko Hosu. Kyuko Hosu.
ちなみに読んだことない宝章9個の記事。
Kyuko. Kyuko Hosu, I guess. It's at the end of the sentence, so I can't keep repeating it. Have you ever read Kyoko Hosu's articles? I'm struggling with that.
すみません。
Sorry.
だよね。
I figured.
まだまだマイナー
I'm
だ
not a
し
big name yet.
そもそも
The magazines I do get printed are marketed for housewives and the elderly.
それは難易度高いな。
That's some pretty intense
ちな
competition.
みに何を
What do you
書い
write
ておら
anyway?
れるんです？
フードレビュー
Food reviews? I specialize in unusual dishes.
あれですか？世界で一
Like
番臭い缶
the
詰とか
foulest smelling
そういう
canned food in the world or something?
そうそう
Yep.
まあ
Well, your usual brand of weirdness doesn't attract much attention these days. So I'm looking for minor culinary oddities local to Japan. Anyway, if you know any weird dishes from your hometown, do tell me. I traveled the length of Japan to give it a try.
ラボの後輩が
A student from the lab I frequented once made pork miso soup with a mushroom he found on campus. We had mass hallucinations and
思いつきと毒物は
no flashes of brilliance or poisons, please. As we chatted, I became curious.
そういえば
By the way,
取材の方
weren't
は
there
お
two of you?
二人とか
もう一人いるわ
Yes, I'm here with a partner.
時間が
He just needs some time to... Oh, there he is. I looked at the van and became completely awestruck. It felt like the van had shed its skin or something. That made no sense, but seriously, how did this fit in there? Hi? Hello, big man? He was a gargantuan. Takume-san was something, but this man was on the level of a foreign heavyweight wrestler. Though unlike Takumi-san, this man was primarily fat, rather than muscle. Well, you don't know, he could be hiding muscle underneath that. As he walked out of the driver's seat, the van shook wildly.
写真家の橋本雄大さんよこちらは私より
橋本
もっとずっと有名
Yudai?
写真家の橋本雄大さんよ写真家の橋本雄大さんよ
Hashimoto's easy. Yudai.
写真家の橋本雄大さんよ
Yudai. Okay.
こちらは私よ
Thank
り
you.
もっとずっと有
I'm
名
gonna try my best to remember all these names, but there's a lot of names being thrown at me. Yudai Hashimoto-san. A photographer. He's way more famous than me.
オールラウンドでご活躍中で写真はきっと気づかないうちに何枚か
He works in all sorts of fields. I imagine you've seen some of his photos without even knowing it. Photographer. I didn't know much about photography, but I was definitely convinced. There was a certain kind of authority, or gravity, around him. What voice am I going to give you? He wasn't saying a word, and I couldn't tell what he was thinking. You know what? I'm okay with that. Don't you say a single word this entire game.
どうもはじめまして。
Nice to meet you.
久石春
I'm
明です
Haruaki Fusaishi. Was he even alive?
どうも
Hello. After a strange pause, he slowly bowed like the moving a mountain he was, and greeted me with a voice like a titan. He seemed somewhat difficult to interact with.
今日で最終日でしたっけ
This is your last day here, isn't it?
ええオリルさんが
Yes.
秘蔵の
Oribe-san said she'd let me try her prize Shishinare.
よその人に耐えられるかな
I don't know if an outsider can handle it.
まあ胃薬も持ってきて
I have my stomach medicine. I'm sure I'll be fine. And so, Mamayashi and Hashimoto-shi walked off to the dining hall. Who would have thought that such a beauty was a delicacy hunter? I had to admit, that gap was kind of charming. As intrigued as I was, I couldn't waste any more time. I had to fix my bike already. Whoa. A lot of things had surprised me here in Yasumizu. but nothing as much as this.
もしもし
Hello? No reaction. At first glance, he looked like a poor old man too senile to think and perceive properly.
何か
You
ご用
need
ですか?
something from me? I made sure to speak as clearly as possible. It didn't look like he understood. I figured it was best to just ignore him and resume the repairs, but...
来る
coming! I looked at him again. Old man, keep that to yourself. Go get a room, please. Don't go in public and do that. He was just standing there like his soul and brain had left his body. A vacant stare, yellowed eyes, half-open mouth covered in saliva.
来る
Coming! He spoke again.
何が
What's coming?
おー
The... What? His voice was too hoarse to make out.
何ですって
Come again? I placed my hand against my ear. He finally understood what I wanted and prepared to whisper something. I brought my ear closer and...
狼が来るぞ
The wolf is coming! The sudden shout caught me completely off guard and made me fall to the ground. He looked down at me, laughing. He clapped and opened his half-toothless mouth into a wide smile.
狼が
The wolf is coming! The wolf is coming! He bent his body in a weird way, laughed like he was convulsing, turned around, and just left.
春秋さん
Haruaki-san. Oh, I'm too late. Chiemi had joined the journalists and only just came back.
何が遅かったの
Late for what?
おじいちゃん
Gramps over there loves messing around with strangers like that.
あれ
Wait,
ちえみちゃん
that's her grandpa? I think she just means like Gramps in general.
いやいや
No.
知らないんだ
I don't even know his name.
昔から休みずに
He's been in Yasumizu forever,
昔からあんな感
and
じ
he's always like that.
ボケてる
It felt like
ちょっとおかしい
it
の
felt
か
less like he was just messing around and more like he's a bit touched.
うんみんな
Yep,
狼
everyone
じじい
calls him the old man who
って言
cried
うけど
wolf. Named after the boy who cried wolf, I assume. Doesn't work as well, though.
狼
Wolves, eh? As far as I knew, there were no wild wolves in Japan. There used to be, but after the last sighting in either the Meiji or Showa era, they've been considered extinct here. Modern Japan's image of wolves came from Western fairy tales and the like. It wasn't linked to anything in our culture or life. Well, that's funny, because they don't have werewolves, right? But we have werewolves. Sorry, I yawned. I know I was already warned about werewolves. Even The Boy Who Cried Wolf was a Western tale. Did his brand of insanity make him repeat the tale or something? A bit weirded out by the circumstances, I went back to repairing my bike. After a bit more time, I somehow took off the rubber from the tires and removed the tubes. Both tires were pierced by some really rusty nails. Fuck. This kind of stuff only happened at the worst of times. Then I applied the patches and filled them with the air using a manual pump. I wet the tubes. There were no bubbles, meaning no air was leaving them. Things were looking good. After the high schoolers came back from school and passed by, no one else stopped to talk. Jamie was looking a bit bored now.
なんとかなりそうかも
I think I got it. Seriously, but it all seems so hopeless.
悪かったね。
Well, sorry.
これを
Though I need to rebuild this. That's gonna be a lot of work.
それが終わったら出発
And
で
you'll
す
be able to leave then?
そうだね。
Yeah,
長いすぎ
believe
と
me.
まずそうなのは
I know I shouldn't stay here
よくわかった
long.
し
I can take a hint.
そうよかった
That's great. She didn't seem to care that much. Guess I had no chance with her, huh?
もう何時間も缶を詰めっぱなし
You've been at this for hours.
大丈夫
How are you holding
疲れ
up?
てない
Need a break?
昼食休憩
Well,
の機会が
I'd be better if a certain someone didn't take away my lunch break.
代わりにクラッカーをあ
Hey,
げたじゃな
I
い
gave
で
you
す
some
か
crackers, didn't I? Well, thank you for your generosity. Like that was enough to say to Guy in his mid-20s.
まあ
Still,
僕は大丈夫。
I'm pretty fine.
もう一頑張りする。
I'll push forward a bit more.
君ももう
You
行
can
って
go.
いいよ。大体の人
多分あと2人会ってない人がいるかな
I accidentally pressed egg. You can go if you want. I've been introduced to just about everyone here. There's 2 people you haven't met yet. Really? Well, there was no real need to, right?
もうちょっといるよ
I'll stay around a bit longer. I came back here because I was bored. And it's not like I'm busy.
52人の男
Couldn't you play around with
友
your
達と
52
遊ぶ選択肢は
guy
なかったの
friends?
前言撤回
I take it back. I came back because I wanted to be bored. Living in the city is so annoying and tiring, especially with 52 guys texting you all the time.
そっか。
Oh,
ごめん52人は嘘
sorry. I lied about the 52 guys.
なんでそんな嘘を。
Why?
春秋さんに対する
Because I wanted to keep you in check, I guess. Why would she pull a tactic like that only to reveal her hand?
ねえ彼女に振られたって本当
Hey, did you really get dumped by your girlfriend? Yes. And now she asked me that.
本当だって。
I did. Honest.
うーん
Hmm. I see. Well, after that relentless assault, it wouldn't be fair unless I played my own card.
なんならこれ。
Want to come
持っ
with?
ていく
これって2人乗りなんだ
It's a 2-seater?
もちろん。
Yeah. There's even an extra
タ
helmet.
ンデム用のヘルメ
It's
ッ
not
トも
dry
吊
yet,
るしてきてるし、まだ僕はこのままここを出ていくから。
I'm obviously leaving
その
soon,
分で
so unless you have something
外
planned,
に出るのが
you can join me.
都合良ければってことになるけど、ついでに
We can even go on a bike tour. If we have
時
enough
間さ
time,
えあれば
I can
どこ
take you
へだって
anywhere.
行くよ。
Flexible, open to fine-tuning, wild, and charming. This was a good date invitation, if I say so myself.
いいね素敵
That sounds great, and I have no
問
plans.
題ないよ
Oh?
じゃあ荷物
I'll
持
go
って
get my
くる
stuff then. Chiemi smiled and turned around to head to her place. She then looked back at me, and
急いだ方がいいよ
you should hurry. You should hurry before I change my
変
mind.
わらない
はいはい。
Yeah,
もちろん。
sure. Well, that made me motivated. This was one thing. This was one tiring trip, but at least I met something good along the way. I'd just forget everything I didn't want to remember while on the road with her. I could only hope that clever girl and I would eventually grow closer. With that ulterior motive in mind, I resumed rebuilding the bike. After several failed attempts, I was finally making some good progress putting the bike back together. Afternoon had passed and it was almost evening. At the rate I was going, I'd definitely be working while it was dark. Would that even be possible? It might be way past midnight by the time I was done. Chiemi might dump me for that. Man, life sure was hard. The plaza I worked in was now totally empty. There was no one around me. All I could hear was the wind, the frogs, and the tools in my hands. It was desolate, to say the least. I suddenly felt really weak. It made me keenly aware of being in a place I didn't belong, and that I was preparing to escape. It was an oppressive atmosphere, like the bars of a cage were slowly swinging shut. What's this, Haruaki? Think you're going to get attacked or something? I tried to laugh it off, but it didn't work. As I became more conscious of my surroundings, I began to hear things I hadn't noticed before. I heard a voice. Someone was singing. It was an inarticulate little girl's voice. The girl? I stopped my work. Before I knew it, I'd put my tools down and gone looking for the source. Was I that starved for human presence? Or did the Malais make me feel like I was in danger? I did not pronounce that right. I walked down the hill to where the song came from. Passing the tall grass, I arrived.
しんないさんのお守りは
That sounded way more than just what is said here. Guardians are. It was a strange sight. The field was covered in tall grass. There were countless rocks peeking out of it. Unlike the boulders all over Yasumizu, these were only up to my waist. They looked like gravestones.
いついつく
Six, the badger hums along great within an array of bricks.
走る
Probably should have been a comma between along and great. Or maybe great and within. The bad jar hums along great within an array of bricks. I don't know. The field extended into the dusky western sky before ending it at a cliff. This was the lowest spot in Yasumizu, the border to Saranaga. There was a large pine right at the edge.
嵐
8, the donut, the lonely rice snows on the mountain.
えり
The evening sun, the stones, and the pine's shadow gave the field a strange aura. A little girl was running through it. Her steps were awkward. At this moment, this space was alien. It felt like I was looking at a Giorgio di Chirico painting. The place felt like it didn't belong in this world. Suddenly, I came to understand that this place was special. It was a sacred, mystical ground where no outsiders were welcome. So turn around. The girl fell.
大丈夫？
Are you okay? Oh? What? I run to the girl with no hesitation. Was that actually a choice? Was there something I could click there? Ah! Ah, here we go. This is the choice. Help up. Half-crying little girl, muddy clothes. New graze on Band-Aid covered kneecap. Interesting. Wait, someone. I console little girl, push away, run, someone. So click on console? This is kind of a weird way to do it. Shouldn't you, like... Appears. Girl saw once me. Wait, what? What is happening right now? Am I actually clicking on anything significant?
夕霧立てば宴の下
Prepare for the feast when the evening mists arrive. Weave, incomprehensible phrase. Hide behind, little girl, fear and hostility, eyes. What if I just press A?
逃げて
Run. Girl, hug, little girl, warn, me? What is happening right now? You probably won't make it,
でも
but
逃げて
run. Me, girl behind. Missed. Miss. Me, girl behind, miss. Miss. Me, girl behind, miss. Ooh, that's not what I wanted. Oh, I'm already... Me. Turn around. Run. So this is not me trying to pick any choices. I don't know where this... I don't know what this is. Where? In a daze, I came back to the plaza. Suddenly, Jamie shook me, bringing me back to my senses.
どこへ行ってたの
Where were you?
ごめん
Sorry.
すぐ
I'll
作業
finish
に
the
戻
job
る
now.
から
何言ってるの
It's too late, you idiot.
間に合わない
You won't make it in time.
隠れて
You've got to hide. I couldn't understand what she was getting at.
何やってんだチーミー。とっとと部屋に戻れ。
What are you doing? Go to your room right now.
でも春秋さんが
But Haruaki-san's...
ほっとけそんなやつ
Forget the outsider.
俺はおやすみ
Old man Konzo and I'll check the other places.
絶対戻れよ。
Stop wasting time and go back to yours. I couldn't understand. What were these two doing? What scared them so much? It didn't take long for me to find out. I looked down the hill. From Saranaga, beyond the field I'd just been in, came a rising haze. It was so dense you could easily call it mist. Or mist? Or mist? It moved strangely, like a living creature, as it flowed into the plaza.
春秋さんこっち
Haruaki-san, over here! Jamie pulled me by the hand.
何が
What's
なんだか
going on?
頭
Ugh,
がなんだ
my head.
頭が
Feels like it weighs a
重い
ton.
な
今は我慢して
Deal with it. You've got to find a place you can lock the doors.
一人で入るの
You'll die if you don't.
死んじゃう
どういうことなの
What do you
理
mean?
由を
Tell me.
お願い春秋さん
Please.
今だけは言う
Don't ask questions. Just do as I say. Just this once. Albeit hesitantly, I did as she said. We ran up the hill and crossed a rice field path until we made it to a simple outhouse.
ここならなんとか
This should be fine.
本当
Seriously?
何事なんだ
What's going on?
確かにすごい霧だ
And
けど
sure, that was a hell of a
そんな慌て
mist.
ることじゃ
But this won't protect me, right?
いい春秋さん
Listen,
詳しく
there's
説明
no time
す
to
る時間は
explain.
ない
So please,
お願いだから
just do what I say and
だから
only
言うことを
that.
絶対に守って今から一晩
Get in
ここに
there.
入って
Lock
鍵を
yourself
かけ
in.
て
Stay inside the whole
物
night.
音一つ立て
And
ない
don't
で
make a sound. My mind was pretty clear by this point. So much so that I began to wonder why it was clouded until now. Because of that, I could easily understand exactly what Chiemi just said, despite how weird it was. I could also see she was really desperate. Well, I don't have a choice. Are these chapters? So this isn't telling me to get 3 keys. Like the others, I thought it was like, is it telling me to get 4 keys and then 8 keys? No. This is telling me where the keys are in the chapters. So I need to do chapter 3, 8, 19, and 20 to pick this option. Cannot pick it. Hide in the outhouse. Now that's a hell of an order.
春秋さん
Haruaki-san,
言っとくけど、
just so you know,
相当な無茶
pulling
ぶり
that
だ
off
から
is
ね
pretty hard.
ノルマ
When I
クリア
do,
の暁に
I'd
は
like a good
相
reward
当
and
な
an
理解
explanation.
と説明をよ
Sure,
全
I'll
部
tell you everything.
だから
So please, survive
生
the
き延び
night.
て
The words, the teary smile. None of it looked fake.
じゃあね
See ya then.
君も
You gotta
そう
hurry,
でしょ
right? Yep.
それじゃ
Haruaki-san.
春秋
何
What?
明日
I'll tell you tomorrow. Leaving me one hell of a homework assignment. And Chiemi ran off. The plaza was covered in the mists by now. I could see it rising to take over the fields, too. Anyway, a promise was a promise. And 10 minutes later, I began to wonder what I was doing. Was I really supposed to spend the night here? This outhouse wasn't like a prefab you'd find in construction sites. It was just a shack built by hand. It merely happened to have a toilet unit installed. It was Japanese style, so I couldn't even sit down. All I could do was stand. All night. Another problem. It was the type of toilet that periodically had to be pumped empty, so the smell was really bad. Sure, there was a cover on the toilet unit, but without any kind of air freshener anywhere, the smell of ammonia could only do so much. The only good thing about being here was that if I had to go to the toilet, well, mission complete, but what of it? Again, was I really supposed to spend the night here? The question quickly made me realize how stupid this was, and I began making assumptions to make this easier for myself. Was I being pranked? Or was everyone here just crazy? Hell, the mist had already filled the surroundings, and there was no way that this shabby outhouse protected me from it. The air here already felt misty and damp. The temperature here was low, so I could still bear it somewhat, but staying here all night would make me all wet. Again, I wasn't safe from the mist here. That considered, I'd probably be better off sleeping in the grass outside than staying here. The reasonable part of my mind urged me to stop playing along with these hicks. However,
今から一晩ここに
you
入っ
get
て
in there,
鍵を
lock
かけて
yourself in,
絶対に
stay inside the whole
物音
night,
一つ立て
and
ない
don't
で
make a sound.
うんいいよ全部
Sure.
話す
I'll tell you everything.
だから
So
ご飯
please,
を生き延び
survive
て
the night. My sense of duty made it hard for me to break the promise I'd made to her. Actually, that wasn't quite true. I was more intrigued by the prospect of learning more about this place. Anyway, I took the time to compile what I'd found out today. This was the Yasumizu settlement, a special part of Fujiyoshi. It was situated right next to the Saranaga Rapids. The people living here were Chiemi Seirizawa, Yasunaga Orebe, his family, Kaori Orebe, and Yotsisugu Orebe, Chikamochi Kamoshida, Haru Makishima, her granddad, Kanzo Makishima, Toye Yamawaka, I'm struggling, Takumi Muro, Hiyonosuke Nosato. It seemed like he was from Fujiyoshi, the place on the other side of the mountain, but for some reason he lived here now. And finally, the old man who cried wolf. Those were the 11 people I had met, and Chiemi said I had 2 more left. That could only mean that the two I'd met by the pine were the ones. A little girl. She was probably the child that strayed into Saranaga yesterday morning. And then there was the fantastic-looking, white-haired woman clad in strange clothing. She was probably the one I'd seen in the morning. The fact that I'd seen her twice made it likely that she was indeed real. But with how mysterious this place was, I couldn't rule out the possibility that she was an illusion. According to Chiemi, the little girl was being looked after by someone in the village, so I could only assume that the white-haired woman was the one. If I counted the little girl, it would mean that Yasumizu had 13 inhabitants. Then there were the two journalists, Hisako Mamiya and Yudai Hashimoto. Add me to that, and you had a total of 3 outsiders. But I'd put that aside for now. Anyway, time for an assessment. Yesterday morning, a little girl strayed into Saranaga. To make it worse, no one, not even herself, knew anything about her. She instantly got branded as an ill omen. The next day, Chiemi, who was in Saranaga for some reason, found me there. They recognized me as a proper lost person, but since I came through Saranaga, I was also branded as an ill omen. From what Kiyono Suke no Satoshi said, it was safe to assume that it used to be customary to throw people like us into Saranaga. And then there was the mist. The girl said something mysterious. Prepare for the feast when the evening mist arrived. I can only assume it was related to the same superstitions. After all, the mist came from Saranaga itself. It and the river seemed to be central to the local customs and ideas. With that in mind, how was it dangerous? What was going to happen now? Yomi Bito, as in people from Yomi? The ancient Japanese land of the dead? Dead people came back through Saranaga, and they were corrupted. Well, that gave room for some wild ideas. Was there some sort of pathogen in Saranaga that rose up with the mists? Did it turn people into zombies? Was I about to be part of a Japanese Resident Evil? Wait, that was already Japanese. What if you had a 10% chance to be infected by the mist, but a 100% chance to be infected by another person? That explained why everyone had to isolate themselves like this. If I became a zombie, I probably wouldn't have the mind to unlock the door. So basically, by locking myself in here, I was quarantining myself. I hadn't put all that much thought into that, but that seemed like a good story. Sure, stuff like the boulders and the wolves didn't fit anywhere into my idea, but it was still interesting. Then again, I knew this was Hicksville and all, but would a superstition that science could explain so easily really survive the modern world? It seems so weird. Now get in there, lock yourself in, stay inside the whole night, and don't make a sound. Don't make a sound. To be frank, the reason why I spent so much time on these illusions was because I was scared of things I didn't know or understand. In the past, people used to attribute stuff like natural phenomena and diseases to gods, devils, yokai, and then do nothing but fear them. They were scared of these manifestations of monsters and whatnot. But on the other hand, it was better than not seeing or not knowing what they really were. The fact that you could die to things you couldn't see or understand made life really unreasonable and unfair. That was why it was very logical to give things names and mental images in order to recognize and memorize them. My fear of things I didn't know was the same, except I wasn't satisfied with just labels or hypotheses. I needed to reach the truth. That aside, what was I feeling right now? Wasn't a fear of the unknown. It was a realistic, practical fear of something that could endanger my life. Get in there, lock yourself in, stay inside the whole night, and don't make a sound. That meant that, outside, lurked something dangerous that could hear sounds. Perhaps it was the so-called dead that rose up from the river. Or maybe, assuming I was right with my Saranaga sickness theory, it was people who came out and beat the shit out of all the disease who didn't follow the rules. The wolf is coming. Maybe the wolf was the title given to the killer. Correct? Suddenly, I heard a scream in the distance. I should not go out, but I have no choice. Go out and take a look. So does that mean chapter 2? Aren't I past chapter 2 or wait? X, right? No, I'm in chapter 2. So I have to find the key later. Go out and take a look. Wow. That was some timing. Right as I was about to form a new hypothesis, the proof connecting it all suddenly came to me. And it was right outside. It had gotten really dark. There were no lights anywhere. The darkness was fear. Unperceived equal unknown equal dangerous equal scary. Leaving this place was dangerous. Dangerous equals scary. Equals scary equals scary equals scary. Scary things were scary no matter how much logic you applied. But I couldn't discard my desire to get to know the fear and conquer it. I opened the door and stopped in place. Night wasn't absolute darkness. No matter how dark or cloudy it was, the sky always gives some bit of light to us. However, I came to understand that it could be hard to see even if there was light. Everything I saw was covered by a dense mist. Combined with the pale moonlight, it made the area seem milky. It made it hard to get around. Regardless, I couldn't ignore the scream. There was something beyond this veil. I kept moving forward. Unless my ears were deceiving me, the scream belonged to a woman and had come from the right. I couldn't let myself think that. It's probably Kaori. Or rather, I didn't want to think that. The unknown was scary. Personally, I found that principle made my life really easy. I had more than enough fear from those which were directly threatening my life. I really didn't want to have the fear of losing someone as well. Change your line of thought, Haruaki. Solving the mystery might save someone. 2 birds with 1 stone. I began walking faster. Another scream. It was close. I realized I had to find a way to protect myself. I was unarmed, so I looked around for anything I could use as a weapon. I felt around to see if there were any branches or anything. Sadly, all I felt was grass. I went deeper and searched the ground itself. Soon I found something hard. It was a rock. A moment of digging later, I took it in hand. It was a bit smaller than my hand. I almost teared up at how useless it seemed, but it was better than nothing. I looked at the base of my feet and saw the grassy ground. I could easily move forward if I first checked the ground using my feet. And since I might have been close to the danger, I had to focus on what was ahead too. I'd recognize the danger and, if possible, get rid of it. I concentrated entirely on that and stepped forward. I couldn't hear the screams anymore. But I could hear other things. That's death. A wet sound. And the sound of something cracking. It filled my mind with countless things I didn't want to imagine. So that would be the werewolf eating someone. Maybe Kaori. Even so, I kept walking forward. Until I saw it. Oh, you're a biggin. Oh. My hypotheses were nothing but delusions. The truth was truly something you had to see yourself. But why? Why was this so scary in spite of it being true? It wasn't supposed to exist. It couldn't exist. After all, it was a wolf with a humanoid body. There's no such thing as werewolves. I think we're dead. The next morning, in a paddy field in Fujiyoshi, Yasumizu, 3rd block, someone discovered a thoroughly mangled corpse. The clothes nearby led the discoverers to conclude that it was the traveler, Haruaki Fusaishi.
Fusaishi. まだ動いてんぞ。
He's still moving. Strangely enough, I could perceive this particular moment.
読み人じゃなきにせ
Yomibito! Purge him! And so I...
さよなら、春秋。
Goodbye, Haruaki-san. They shot me? Was finished off by the girl. Wait, is it because I'm alive? So if you survive the werewolf attack, you might become one. So you have to be shot.
宴が始まりました。
The feast begins. The last thing I heard.
狼をくぐる
I'll hang the wolf. Was that. Unveiled arrival. Obtain key 2, Werewolf and Resurrection. You can view it in the keys list. The route unlocked by this key is represented by the same number on the scenario chart. Game over. Bad ending number 2. Watch hint corner? No. Guess it was just a dream, right? Do better next time. 1 sheep, 2 sheep. Wow, you started me all the way back at the beginning, but... So we went... Wait a minute. Okay, so we can't do that one yet. We can do this one. But I'm actually going to save and call it here. Oh, wait, no, not that one. This one. Save. Okay, saved. I do need a thumbnail. Can I go back to the werewolf? I think the werewolf will make a good thumbnail. There we go. That'll work. Now, how do I hide? There we go. Perfect. That's perfect. So we will call it there. Now, this game, the developers of this game seem to say that they would prefer that not upload this entire playthrough. Only the main story that they are allowing. I think what I'll do is I can live stream it because the live streams will disappear on Twitch, and I can delete them as well. When we get past the main story point, I can delete the Twitch VODs, and I can private the YouTube ones. I'll just private them and just make them only viewable, I guess, to maybe my Discord, and not public. That should be hopefully acceptable enough. Because I want to play through the whole thing and everything. I want to stream it. At least. So hopefully that'll be okay, I hope. But for now, we shall raid out. We get raid messages for followers and for subscribers. While I look for someone to raid, thank you everyone for hanging out with me. For those who are in chat and those who are just lurking, I appreciate it. It's always good to have you guys with me. Especially you, Kai. I hope you all have a good morning, day, or night, whatever time it is for you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, everyone.
In a room where shadows loom, a man sits deep in gloom, with a pen held tight in hand, sketching dreams that understand. Walls may close, the night may fall, but his spirit stands tall. Lines he draws are doors that lead to worlds where dreams are free. With a pen he builds his dreams, turning silence into streams. In his mind he's never alone, crafting realms he calls his own. Paper whispers, secrets told, journeys inked in black and bold. Mountains climb or rivers bend, in the world that he can mend. He may be confined and still, yet his heart is wild with thrill. Through each line a sky so wide, in his world he takes a ride. Every size painted bright, stars that gleam in darkest night. With a pen